Morning, Tri-Cities. It's Thursday at 10, and it's time for another episode, I guess you'd call it, webisode. We'll have to make a name up for these. I'm Coffee with Karl. I'm Karl Dye from Tridec, and we're super excited for our guest today. We've got not only the leader and CEO and president of Visit Tri-Cities, Michael Novakovich, but we have his whole team with us, which is a first with us from Visit Tri-Cities. So thank you guys for joining us. I already kind of introduced Michael, but we're also joined by Hector Cruz, the Vice President for Sports Development. Good morning, Hector.
Good morning. Good to see you, Karl.
Thanks for joining us. And I didn't tell Michael good morning too, but Michael, as always, good morning.
Good to see you, Karl. Thanks.
Want to make sure make sure everybody gets their good morning. We stick to the script. Also, Karisa Sawyers. I'm sorry.
It's Karisa Saywers.
Sawyers. I'm sorry. I should have practiced. Now I already messed it up. So I'm gonna have to turn it over to Michael to take over for the whole rest of the show. Karisa is the Director of Marketing for Visit Tri-Cities. Good morning, Karisa. Thank you for the clarification.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
You bet. And last but very much not least is Lara Watkins, the Director of Convention Sales. Good morning, Lara.
Hi, good morning.
Is that Clover Island that you're at? Are you
yes,
on the island this morning?
I'm down here live, coming at you live.
That's awesome. Well, guys, thanks for joining us. We'll kick it off as we always do with talking about our coffee mugs. And I showed you guys one of our pugs. We have 4 pugs, but Tracy, who actually produces and created our show, and Tiffany Burke from our office gave me this a couple months ago when I was studying for a certification test. It's Star Pugs Coffee, but we have 4 pugs. You might have saw our Christmas card where I had 2 pugs. Now we got 4 pugs. We love pugs, so I got the Star Pugs coffee mug. So for your guys' mugs, let's start with Lara. Lara, what do you have for a mug or coffee story for us this morning?
Well, I have, you can't see with my background.
Oh, no, Clover Island.
Oh, can I see it? Have you got it there? There we go.
Wow.
Go Cougs. This is my husband's mug, but it's now my favorite mug. So I'm a Coug. My daughter was a Coug, and my husband wished he was a Coug.
I have the same situation in my house. I'm actually a Vandal, and I say that I'm a Costco Cougar because, whatever Cougar gear is on sale at Costco, that's where I get my Cougar gear. All right, let's go to Karisa next. What do you have for mug or coffee stories for us?
Well, this mug is my favorite mug. It says adulting is hard, because I think we can all agree that adulting can be difficult at times. But I love this mug because my cousin Allison, shout out to Allison, got me this for Christmas one year. So it's my favorite at-home mug, but today it's in the office for this very special occasion.
That's awesome.
Karl, I should.
Adulting is hard. Yeah, Michael.
Yeah, Karisa really does struggle with the adulting piece, but it's made for some quality marketing. So she's put.
That's a perfect tie-in. All right, well, let's go to Hector next. What do you got for a mug or story for us, Hector?
Well, I couldn't think of anything, so it's just blank. No, I'm just kidding. It's Eastern Washington University.
There we go.
Yeah, no, I'm an Eagle. My whole family's an Eagle. My wife and I met at Eastern Washington University, and we love going back. We go to a lot of the football games over there. Of course, they have a great program for footballs, and we just love hanging out there. And we have a love for Eagles, and we call our kids our little Eaglets, because they're all Eagle fans right now. Who knows where they're going to go to college yet? But right now they're our little Eaglets running around.
Oh man, that's awesome. Well, Big Sky, like Eagles are dominating the Big Sky football, right? And as a Vandal, that kind of hurts me to say it, but I gotta give props to the Eagles. So cool mug.
Yeah, go Eagles.
There you go. Okay, Michael, everybody's been waiting for your mug. What do you got for us?
Well, I'm hopeful that it's translucent, so I may put something behind it.
Yeah.
We can do. Can you nothing? Oh, well, you might see a
50.
Let's try. Yeah. Well, what you can't see is it says "Cheers to 50 years." These good folks on this call, along with the rest of the Visit Tri-Cities team, got me this mug with some black headgear and some other assorted things as I turned 50 last year.
Whoa, Michael, I'm surprised and fairly shocked. I thought maybe like it was a Back to the Future thing, like they were getting you a mug, for the future or something like that. But
If it was, yeah, exactly. Much like Karisa, if we were really, creating this timeline by my behaviors, maybe.
I was going to ask, I don't think that mug was actually intended for coffee.
Can't tell. It's more of a beer mug.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, Michael, as of last year, welcome to the Half Century Club. It's good to have you on the team.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Well, Michael, let's stick with you and just ask you to kind of, can you run through what's going on right now at Visit Tri-Cities? The videos that we just saw were amazing, and it's cool to see because you guys did so much, marketing and video work as it relates with the health district and getting some important messaging out there on, both vaccines and then, some of the things, mask wearing and everything else. So it's cool that you guys are cranking out these videos now on, visiting Tri-Cities. So can you kick us off with just, how's it going? What are some highlights you guys are working on?
Sure, yeah. So I know you'll certainly hear from Karisa, Lara, and Hector about some really cool endeavors we have in the works. But tourism's, it's happening, right? So yesterday, actually, Washington State opened up. So occupancies for the events we host have been lifted. Indoor events, the capacity constraints there. If you hit up over 10,000 people, there's a capacity limit. But otherwise, we are getting back to business as normal. We've got this reduced or eliminated social distancing, which is great news for us, particularly when we talk about our meeting spaces. Of course, we want to do this in a safe fashion, but it allows us to get back to the business of tourism, which is cool. Leisure travel, pent up demand, it's been happening. We saw people last year when everything else was locked down, finding our outdoor spaces, which was great news. Really interesting last year when we look what happened in our industry-wide, there was a downturn of about 42%. So it was a significant hit. Tri-Cities, although we took a pretty significant hit, we fared better than our industry on the whole. We were down about 30%. And just to put this into dollar terms, that's a loss of about $150 million in revenue that finds its way into our community that we didn't see last year. So 2019, best year ever for the Tri-Cities and our industry for tourism, about $500 million in business annually here. Last year, about $350 million. But I can tell you right now, our hotel occupancies are up, as you're going to hear from Hector. The sports tournaments are happening. Leisure travel, people are finding their way in. And last year, I think one of the things that really floated the boat for us was we have all these wonderful outdoor spaces. And that was the thing that was available to all of us. So people were out on the river, out there mountain biking, climbing our desert hills, finding patios to enjoy everything from wine to craft beverages. So good news there. We're looking forward to more of it. The industry predictions are by the end of next year, 2022, leisure travel will be at 99% of where it was in 19, which again was the best year on record for tourism. So that's great news. One of the spots though that is expected to lag is anything related to business travel. So we were talking before we kicked off just hybrid and how people have embraced this, but we also know that there's great value when we get together with our colleagues for association events and we get a network, share best practices and build relationships that we can use to better our organizations, those people we serve. So we're looking forward to people embracing that. But right now, industry predictions, and again, this may not be what we see in the Tri-Cities, but just the broad stroke is that it's going to be 2024 before we see that full recovery back to 2019 numbers. So the pandemic certainly sucked the wind out of the sails a bit in that regard. One of the big things for Visit, and it starts today, actually, we have a membership model change. So the way that Visit Tri-Cities has been structured, among other things, we're a membership-based business. So people buy into what we do and we promote them to Karisa, for instance, travel writers, both domestically and internationally, so great exposure. So we have a lot of different tools we use to promote businesses. Some people, our corporate sponsors, recognize the value of tourism because we help to drive quality of life, and we can really get in the weeds on that one. But everything from emergency services to schools to roads to parks, the work that we do helps to fund these things in part. So it's significant benefit to everybody and help build out an amenities-based community. Well, for us to be really competitive, particularly coming out of COVID, when we took a look at our membership model, most of the businesses that really provide that really cool visitor experience, they're locally owned operations, right? Your favorite restaurant or a winery or craft beverage, or maybe it's a museum or some kind of attraction that people go to. They were probably the most adversely impacted businesses this last year. So last year we were deferring membership. We had a lot of people that were just unable to pay. So we were continuing to promote their businesses. But as we're coming out of this, we looked at this and we thought, here's the businesses that were impacted in ways that, we couldn't have even expected. But the other thing is we have eliminated our basic membership, and this is what we've done starting today. It gives us the ability to talk about all businesses in the Tri-Cities that are tourism related, not just those people that invest in us. So now there may be a restaurant down the street that for whatever reason wasn't making that investment. It could have been a financial reason, but now we get to talk about them. And from the visitor's perspective, they don't know, nor do I imagine they care whether or not somebody's a member. They just want to know where the greatest hamburger in town is, right? So now we're going to talk about all those businesses. It also gives us a greater opportunity to showcase the diversity of our community and be very, very inclusive. So we're super excited about the changes there.
I got to say, I really am excited to see how it works out. Like just the whole concept of membership in any nonprofit business organization like all of ours are, it's something that it's always tough to kind of create that value chain. So I really appreciate what you guys are doing specifically with your members in that, the kind of like the potentially the different levels of membership, if you will, there's a direct benefit tied into marketing, promotion, things that, for businesses that are your members are going to receive that direct benefit. I think it's really cool, Michael. It's going to be awesome to see how it rolls out and what you guys do with it. And I know it's going to be great.
I'm excited. Yeah. And we do have, like our Chairman's Circle members, we have people that make some significant investments for program development for different reasons. They're usually your non-tourism related businesses, but it helps with recruitment, retention, and just investing in the Tri-Cities for quality of life. So yeah, we're excited to share how this works as we go down the road.
That's really cool. I wanted to tell everybody joining us on Zoom today, if you have a question for the Visit Tri-Cities team, you can ask it in the question and answer box. And then if you're joining us on social media, you can always ask your question in the comment section, and we'll do our best to get to all the questions that we have. Moving right along, let's go to Hector Cruz next and get kind of an update from Hector on what's going on in your area of sports development and maybe some upcoming events, and how's it going, Hector?
Yeah, thank you, Karl. Yeah, so sports was one that we're very fortunate to have sports in our community, having it as one of the markets where we're able to bring in, create a really economic impact through sports. We're selling sports year round, getting people to host their events here, showing them what facilities we have. We have excellent facilities to host these various tournaments. And when the pandemic happened, sports was shut down as well, right? So we couldn't go out and play in the ball fields, whether indoors or outdoors. But one thing we did know is that the sports market was going to be one of the first ones to jump back. And it was going to be that one that we knew as soon as the gates were open, they were able to book an event here on a short notice. And I'm talking about weeks. If the week things opened up, we were ready to move forward and had things lined up as soon as those restrictions were lifted, and it did. So this last spring, when the restrictions were lifted, we saw baseball, softball, and soccer. Those came very quick, very strong. Even hockey. There was all kinds of sports that opened up. The one we saw every weekend was really the baseball and softball events taking place. You'd see baseball fields, softball fields across the Tri-Cities, and you would see those fields being utilized. And the majority of those teams were coming from out of town and staying at our hotels and eating at restaurants. And so they were creating that economic impact. So we were excited to see that. We were able to host those events. Most recently, we hosted the National Softball Association of Washington. That's one of our bigger events here. We hold every year. And this last weekend, there was, as we know, it was very hot outside. But again, we knew this market, these teams, especially the youth teams, are eager to get out and play. They hadn't played, in months, in a year. And so they were ready to get out there. And so we had just about 100 teams come in from the entire state of Washington. And they played over 207 games this last weekend. And even with the heat, they were able to adjust the schedule, play earlier in the day and later into the evening under the lights, and still get out there and play. So they're willing to get out there and really adjust what they were doing to still host a tournament. So we were able to to name champions by the end of the weekend on Sunday evening, and it went very well. So it's events like those that we're very proud to continue to be hosting here in the community, and because we know that the economic impact and that it creates for the whole Tri-Cities region. And so some other upcoming events that we're looking at as well. For instance, we have a bass fishing tournament that'll be taking place at the end of this month. The Wild West Bass Trail will be coming in for their Columbia River Pro-Am series. It's part of a series that they host, and they're looking at about 150 boats, 455 anglers with families and friends coming in. And it's not only of course, we see the impact of these coming into the Tri-Cities and staying at our hotels and even at restaurants, but it's also the exposure that we get through media. And for this one in particular, we have, they'll be showing this, or they'll be airing the event nationally through the Pursuit channels. And the Pursuit channel has a reach of about 47 million households that channel reaches. Wow. And to get an exposure where we can show, similar to what you see in my background, we're able to get these kind of shots and show them the marinas and the river and the various attractions that we have to that specific market. And so coming up then, of course, one of the biggest events that we're waiting for of the year here. I know at first we were all nervous because we heard it had canceled early. The Tri-Cities Waterfallies host their annual HAPO Air Show and Columbia Cup. And so we're very excited to say that is back online. It'll be taking place here July 23rd to the 25th. And this is their 55th year here in the Tri-Cities. Of course, we had to cancel it. That had to be canceled in 2020. However, they were still able to they wanted to host something for the community. And many of you might have heard the rumblings of jets flying in the air in September, this last September, because the air show still took place. And so that was great that the Waterfallies Association was still able to host that event, just the air show portion. But this year, when we were looking at the feasibility of hosting an event, they had to cancel it in early May. However, within a week later, there was more restrictions that were lifted here, and the board felt we need to put this event on. We'll make it happen. Let's do it. And they were back online. So, they're expecting right now it's about over $1 million, about $1.3 million are expected in economic impact for this event taking place that full weekend. So right now, tickets are on sale. So anybody out there that wants to buy tickets, they are now online. And there are no limits on there's no restrictions on the amount of people now, since it's an outdoor event. So that opens up a lot. So it's a general admission. So you could get a lot more people down on the river shore. So that's what the difference is, what it's going to really look like down there on the river shore for the boat races is there'll be less hospitality tents and more of a general admission. But other than that, it'll look very similar to previous years with the boats and the air show. So
that's great. I mean, I'm a new Tri-Citian, but that's one thing that I always knew about the Tri-Cities. So it's great to get that event back on track. And I'm sure people are just waiting to get out on the river.
Yeah, and the air show will be coming back again. So they'll be bringing an F-35 and a Heritage flight. So the air show will be another big component of that. So very exciting news, and we're so happy that's back here in the Tri-Cities. And
that's awesome. And go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead. That's fine.
I was going to ask about the bass tournament, and again, I'm new, and I'm not much of a fisherman. I lived in down south, so I did a little bit of bass fishing, but are they smallmouth bass? And then, where are there bass hotspots? Maybe the Yakima Delta or something, or where do they go?
Yeah, they're going all over. So they head out just right behind me, right? They'll come out of the Columbia Marina.
Yeah.
They'll head all the way down into the Umatilla area into Oregon. They're all over the place. And the neat thing about this is they'll come out. They don't just come for the event. These anglers are allowed to come out and do some pre-fishing. So they'll come out here 1 or 2 weeks prior to the event and really scope out their spots. And so I might know where those spots are, but I can't tell you.
Okay. We don't want to get any trade secrets. That's awesome. I mean, 47 million households. That could be really great reach and a great great way to show out the Tri-Cities for sure. That's really exciting.
Yeah. Yep. And so, just to reiterate, that's what we're doing. We're out looking for new events, and
Yeah.
we'll be working this fall where we will be attending some trade shows, and we'll be going national events to promote the Tri-Cities as a sports destination. So we're really looking forward to what's to come for the events that we currently have, but bringing in some new pieces of business here.
Well, Hector,
That's cool.
I don't think it's any secret, but Karl wants to see some dragon boat races here.
Yes, the dragon boats. Yes, those are always fun to watch. Get some good friendly competition out there.
A long time ago, when I wasn't in the Half Century Club, I was in Kelowna, British Columbia. They had a dragon boat race, and I was, oh yeah, we should be doing this. And I've been trying to hold off on all these great ideas that I think I have that I try to feed to Michael. But thinking of the bass boat, I was just thinking like, bass fishing's great, but those guys on the bass boats and where we got the the water follies, the hydroplane race stuff, we should have like a bass boat race, because those guys, it's amazing how fast they go. I mean, that could be like a whole thing. So just not trying to give you too many ideas, but happy to collaborate and just brainstorm.
That's it. That's what we need. Hey, there's all kinds of sports. I've seen it on. That's one that I think that sounds like a good hit there.
Thanks, Hector. That, and we've talked about it before. Michael obviously has been a great guest and been on a few times, but this crossover in the sector of economic that we do at TriDec and the economic development that you guys do at Visit Tri-Cities is, when you can bring these families, whether it's from Washington State or the region or even nationally, and for any type of event, sporting events, convention, the other things you guys work on, there's just this huge opportunity that people that come here maybe for the first time and have a great experience in Tri-Cities might own their own company, or they might have a connection, right? That they go, hey, well, that was awesome. I'd love to do business there. Or even, I think now coming out of COVID, remote workers, right? If people can live wherever they want to, they have a great experience here in the Tri-Cities because they come for all these events we're talking about. Now we got a chance to I don't want to say capture them, but get them here. And remote workers are actually, it's hard to track the data, but a great part of our economy as we can build that sector for sure.
Yeah, no, definitely. And usually I hear a lot of stories of the first time people came to Tri-Cities was to play, play soccer or baseball, or they were out in the fields and that was their first experience here, and they loved it. So yeah, no, definitely.
Exactly. No, it's a huge opportunity. Continue to work on this stuff. And obviously we're in the same building, but you guys are such great partners, to be able to put some of these things together and, have few dragon boat tournaments and, bass boat races, stuff like that. Really cool.
Well,
all right, well, let's go to Karisa next. Karisa, awesome videos, and I love watching did you guys do it bi-weekly or every weekly, kind of that update, like, hey, this is what's coming up this weekend? But really cool. And can you talk about some of that work that you're doing and maybe some of the other things that we should look for that you guys are working on now in marketing and promoting stuff?
Yeah, well, thank you for your lovely comments about those videos, since I am in them. No, I'm kidding. We started pre-COVID. We used to send out a weekly events newsletter that was just like, here's all the things that's happening, and it was just a listing of things. And then COVID obviously happened, and none of those events were happening. And this gave us a really good opportunity to, reinvent that program and come up with something a little bit more interactive and engaging for our audience members, not just for our visitors, but also our locals here that also like to enjoy the events that we host here. And we do have a lot of things going on. And I know that you are new here, and 2020 was, kind of a hard first year for you. So I was going to give you a little bit of an education of all the fun things that you can do in the Tri-Cities that we as locals have been enjoying for years. So, we've got fun runs like mud races, mud factors coming in a couple of weeks. So if you like to get dirty and run and be competitive, that's a great opportunity. Art in the Park, that is an evergreen event that people love here. Thousands of vendors come into the area. You can get the coolest things. You can get new coffee mugs for your next episode, and that shows up here down at Howard Amon Park. And that happens the same weekend as the Tri-City Water Follies. Like, that is such a great weekend for the Tri-Cities to experience so many different things. Like, it highlights our river recreation, but also the cool, like, eclectic art scene that we have here. The last weekend of July is just so fun here in the Tri-Cities. Later on in the summer, we have the Tumbleweed Music Festival. So you seem like a guy who's a big fan of folk music, and that's what they've got going on down there. They've got a lot of different styles of music. They've got bluegrass. They've just got all sorts of things. That's also
man.
Howard Amon.
But I mean, folk music, yeah. Hang Down Your Head, Tom Dooley, classic folk song, like, maybe on a future episode, Michael, I could bust into a little,
I love that. You should definitely do that.
I love folk music. Yeah.
And then Michael will bring the rock.
There's no doubt. You got to end up with the rock.
That's always a fun
I do
thing.
like folk music. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a fun thing that kind of like, it's towards the end of summer, we all know to look forward to that really fun music festival. And that happens in advance of what we also like to call the best week of summer, which is when the fair hits. So that's when you go and eat all the best food, like giant corn dogs and the funnel cakes. And there's some other classic things there that are not coming to mind, but then you go on rides and it's the best it's the best week ever. So we're looking forward to having that experience come back to the Tri-Cities after not having it last year. And I would be remiss if I did not talk about how there are concerts that happen at the Toyota Center. And I don't know if you guys heard that Mr. Worldwide Pitbull is coming to Kennewick in September, and that is a big deal. I don't know. He is Mr. Worldwide, and he's going to be in the Tri-Cities. Awesome.
And, I mean, that's how you know you're on the map, right? Like if Pitbull comes and does a
If
concert, it's like,
Pitbull
hey,
hits
we
the
are,
city,
we're global. Right.
But aside from that, Pitbull doesn't come every year. That's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity that I just want to push on behalf of the Toyota Center. But following that, we've got Hogs and Dogs, which is a fun, family-friendly festival that takes place in West Richland. Car, motorcycle show, food. It's just like a super fun weekend. And that also happens at the same time as Cool Desert Nights, which is classic car show. It's amazing fun. We've had that in the Tri-Cities. I can't tell you how long it's been here, but that is a community fan favorite. We just love having that. And we're so looking forward to having that come back to the Tri-Cities. And of course, there's some, events that happen throughout the summer every week, like, Sunset at Southridge. It's the first, third, fifth Friday of July and August. You head out down to the Southridge Complex in Kennewick, and there's vendors, music, activities for kids, fun stuff. But of course, it really highlights that cool food truck culture that we have here in the region. Thunder on the Island. We talked about how much everybody on this call loves live music. Well, head on down to where Lara's at. Lara's down there reporting live from Clover Island, preparing for next week's Thunder on the Island, where live music takes place. It's just like a really fun vibe to get the cool background of the lighthouse, sunset, Cable Bridge. It's an awesome experience to do that while you're in the Tri-Cities. And of course, Live at 5. Now, today was supposed to be the kicking off day, but heat. But next week, Live at 5 will be back down at John Dan Plaza in Richland, which is also live music. You've got food vendors, activities. These are all great family-friendly events that, just kind of highlight our awesome spaces in the area, as well as live music and the art scene that we've been talking about. So we're really looking forward to have those events coming back to the Tri-Cities for the visitor experience and just what we like to do as residents.
That's really cool. That, the video series that, we saw, I think one of before, and I think maybe you do that weekly. Can people get on a list? Do they need to follow you on social media? Like, how do you guys put those videos out where you kind of give, this recent rundown, Karisa? How can people learn more about that every week?
Everybody signed up for all of those things.
Yeah.
Your Weekend Starts Here is a weekly video that we send out to. We have an email newsletter that you can sign up. You can go to visittricities.com, get all signed up there, and every Thursday it'll hit your inbox. With a video highlighting everything that's coming up this weekend, as well as a link to our calendar of our events. We have a community calendar of events on our website that, there's so many things happening, especially now that we're open, that we can't fit all of it into a 90-second video. So I highly encourage everybody to go to our website, go to our Facebook page, and, check out all the events that are happening. Like there's things that I did touch on, like the events like farmers markets and things like that. There's just so many great things that are happening here, and they're all highlighted on our calendar of events on our website. And again, once you're there, you can go sign up to get that weekly newsletter in your inbox every week.
Perfect.
You post that on socials too, Karisa, don't you?
Oh, yeah. All the socials. You got your Facebook, you got your Twitter. We do those.
Okay.
We also have a great Instagram account that has a lot of fun photos on there. We do all the socials. Cool. We want everybody to understand how awesome the Tri-Cities is.
Definitely. Well, that's awesome. That
we kind of highlight some different businesses in the area. Sorry, I just like bulldozed you. I'm so sorry.
No, that's awesome. That's the format we're in. Go for it.
We also do a program called the Tri-Cities Business Spotlights. At the beginning, when COVID was really impacting a lot of our local businesses, like restaurants, and wineries, and breweries, et cetera, we created a video series. If this is also weekly, called the Tri-Cities Business Spotlight. And it was to show the visitor what kind of the experience they could have, you know, when we were going through the COVID times and what the restrictions were like. And it was just kind of show like, here's what's happening, here's what's opening, here's the experience that you can expect. Well, things have evolved, and now it just kind of moved into this really wonderful program where we're just highlighting all the awesome things that are in the Tri-Cities, not mentioning COVID anymore, just talking about what a great experience that you can have here. And if you don't mind, if I could share a video right now, if that wouldn't be a problem with anybody.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to go through the thing where I say, can you see my screen share here really quickly? So I'm so sorry in advance.
It's okay. It's the Zoom world we live in. We're all used to it.
Yeah. I should be better at it by now, but here we go. All right. So here is what looks to be my screen. And this is a business called Rollin' Up Fresh Ice Cream that I'm going to share with you guys today. Since the temperatures have been hot, you might want to cool down.
Oh, for sure.
Hi guys, I am Jackie Prather and I am the owner of Rollin' Fresh Gold Ice Cream. We have 2 locations. You can find us on Clover Island, right by the lighthouse, or in Richmond at King Shape Garden. This is our 4th summer being in Tri-Cities. I started this business in 2018, and I started it because I wanted to bring a local dairy to the community and make something fun and different. We specialize in rolled ice cream, milkshakes, smoothies, ice cream sandwiches, rolled tacos, and waffle cones. This past year has been crazy. It has been complete chaos. But I am extremely grateful for all the people who have came out to support us and check on us, and just to make sure that we were doing all right. It means so much that we could be a piece of the community that they could come to and have some happiness, have their ice cream, and find a little bit of joy. Come out and roll with us. Have some fun, spend some time, enjoy the view. We would love to have you.
I just love that one. Does that make you want ice cream?
Awesome.
Down at Clover Island?
Yeah. I mean, like, does she literally make the ice cream on like a big cold pan or something? Is that, I mean, or is it ice cream that she melts and then rolls it? Like, how does it work?
I'm gonna lie, I wasn't there for that shoot. So everything I'm about to tell you could be a lie. So yes to all of your questions. I think that's I think it's a really cold, like flat piece of metal that she pours the ice cream mixture on, and then once it freezes, that's when she does the rolling situation. It's a really cool, and everybody, again, I wasn't there, but everybody who enjoyed those, Chase, are on our team. He was the one who was down there filming for these spotlights, and he got to join. He said it was amazing. So I can't think of a better endorsement than that.
That's really cool. I mean, as a big fan of chocolate tacos, it's like she makes them right in front of you. And I mean,
right
who doesn't love a chocolate taco, right?
But those are
really cool.
It's part of the newsletter that comes out, hits every boxes every week too. So not only we can highlight the visitor experience, but also here's some cool things that you may not know about that's in the Tri-Cities.
Exactly. And as the new guy, I don't know about anything in the Tri-Cities. So it's really, really cool.
And before you turn over to anybody else, I did want to talk about our Bandwango passes, if that was okay. Okay. So we have 2 passes. These are really cool digital passes that people can anybody can have them, not just visitors, but we highly encourage visitors to download them, as well as locals. We feature local businesses. So the first one is the Tri-Cities Wine Pass. We have more than 20 local wineries that are participating in this pass. You saw the video at the beginning of this program, but it's free to everyone, and basically you download that pass and you can go to the participating wineries or businesses or whomever is on there, and you can check in, and then you're signed up. You are automatically given an offer for that business. So for example, some wineries do like 10% case discounts or a 2-for-1 tasting or something like that. So but those are exclusive offers that can only be found on these passes. We also have a summer savings pass, which is more of a holistic community program. It has restaurants, it has attractions, museums, Northwest paddleboarding's on there, some breweries are on there. Just there's a lot of different things that you can get some pretty sweet deals on there. You just go to our website, and then their passes are on our homepage, and you can click on there, and it's a really easy process to sign up and have it downloaded directly to your smartphone. So I encourage everybody to go in there and do that and get some sweet deals and explore the Tri-Cities, be a tourist in your own city. And we also have a super secret pass that I'm not supposed to talk about, but I'm going to talk about anyway. Sorry. We have one coming up really excited about called Ales and Tales. So stay tuned for that. Basically, we're highlighting dog-friendly businesses in the area because who doesn't love traveling and going to dinner with their dog? So keep an eye out for that. We're really excited to debut that one a little bit later in the summer. So that's a little sneak preview.
Wow. That's awesome. Like, do you have any specialty, you know, in the ales and tails? Like, say somebody had 4 pugs or something, and
okay. So you're looking for something specific for 4 pugs. I'll see what I can do. I'll see what I can wrangle up for you.
Yeah, I mean, they just got to be ready, right? Because it's a whole herd of pugs coming towards you, and you
I like that. What is a group of pugs called? Do you know that? Does it have a cool name? Like,
maybe it's a question we could ask everybody here and anybody listening to us. Like, what is a group of pugs name? Let's come up with the most creative thing, and then maybe you'd win a prize or special discount through maybe some cool digital passes from Visit Tri-Cities or something.
I like where your head's at.
Hey Siri, what is a group? Oh, she's giving me an answer. I didn't get it all the way out.
Karisa, thank you. That was it's amazing the things that are going on, the way that you guys are promoting it and marketing it, and like I say, for a new person or for these out of town guests, huge resources and great work that you guys are doing. So again, last but not least, but I think it's because of our cool location, going live at Clover Island. We'll turn it over to Lara and talk about what's going on with convention sales. And I think obviously everybody already knows about TBX, but maybe that's a good place for you to start and tell us what's going on.
Well, hopefully everybody has heard the news about TBX, and for those that haven't, TBX stands for Travel Bloggers Exchange, and we have the opportunity to host that conference in our community. What are the dates? October 12th through the 14th. I should just have that remotely. And we're going to invite over 300 travel writers into our community to experience all that we have to offer. We're going to have an opportunity to highlight all the assets and attractions and all the things that make the Tri-Cities so great. It will start off with 2 days of pre-conference activities, followed by 2 days of conference. After the conference, we'll have some post-conference activities that people can participate in, or they can choose to go on a fan tour and go visit other destinations throughout the state hosted by our colleagues out through Washington. So we have some great pre-BEX activities in the works. That's going to be hitting their website in the next week and a half or so. They can experience Red Mountain. They can do a trail ride or a bike ride in the vineyard. We have a hike. We have a couple different hiking options that are followed by wine tasting. A lot of wine is going to be introduced. So hopefully these people are wine lovers, because if they're not, they might be by the time they leave. But we also have some beer opportunities as well for those beer lovers. We need to incorporate some craft cocktails too. Not that everybody has to drink. We also have some paddleboard adventures. There's going to be a paddle boarding excursion to Ice Harbor Brewery, and then they can partake in some lunch and some beer flights there. And I don't know, we just, that's the stuff that we're coming up with and that our partners are proposing to us. It's just really cool. Scenic flights over Tri-Cities, followed by a tour of the Pasco Aviation Museum. These are just a few of the things. Each of the attendees can register to attend one activity pre-conference. And when they're not doing that activity, we'll be providing a list of what we call TBExtras. So a list of attractions, assets, our museums, all the wineries, breweries, all the things that they can partake in: kayaking, paddleboarding, bike rentals, our path, all the things. And the other cool thing about TBEX too is once they're here, they stay. They come in early, they stay late. The average length of time for a TBEX attendee to a region is between 7 and 14 days. Wow. So I guess when they were in Greece, it was 28 days, but it's just a really great opportunity for Tri-Cities and for the state of Washington. And I think that the timing of this conference is so fantastic. It's really going to help aid in our recovery as we're looking at welcoming visitors back. We've already started seeing leisure come back, and we're really looking forward to these folks, these content creators, travel bloggers coming into our community and helping to tell our story and promoting future visitation from others. So just, we couldn't be more excited about it. And the other cool thing too is each night of the conference, we'll be hosting a reception in each city, so one city per night, giving them the opportunity to experience some other cool thing, something cool asset. So for Richland, for example, we're looking at the Reach Museum to host an event, and then Kennewick and Pasco to come. But Kennewick, we're looking at Columbia Gardens. I'm just gonna let the cat out of the bag. And then Pasco, we're still looking at a couple different options as well. But I think it's just gonna be so much fun and just a great opportunity to share why we love Tri-Cities. We're just going to let that secret out of the bag and share it with the world.
It's so cool. I mean, you know, first pit bull and then TBX. I mean, you know, what's next, right? I mean, how else
know.
can you guys show off the Tri-Cities to the whole world, right? I mean, that's huge.
And the other cool thing, about TBX I wanted to mention is this is the first time they're hosting a conference in the Pacific Northwest. So they've gone as far west as Billings, Montana. They were there in 2019. This is their first venture into Pacific Northwest. And we're excited to share our city, our cities, our region, and the state with these visitors. Looking so forward to it.
That's awesome. Well, we do have a question from the audience. And Visit Tri-Cities board member and excellent local hotelier, BJ, has a question. How many travel writers have registered for the conference so far? Do you get updates from TBX, or like how's the, you know, there's the expected, but how's the sign up going?
The signups are good. So they canceled 2020 due to COVID. They were supposed to be in Lafayette, Louisiana, and a lot of those registrations got transferred over. They're allowing people to cancel if they just can't make it this year. But last, I think that was reported at our board meeting in May, was 238. And so, but we're confident we're going to hit that 300 mark. And we have a meeting with TBX next week, and we'll get a follow up. We'll get up to date numbers then. And then we awesome. Also, you know, I'm going to provide some additional information. If you go to the TBX website, which is tbxcon.com, and you look at upcoming events, you can actually register to attend the conference. So if we have any industry partners or any locals that are interested in attending the conference, they can. There's going to be some great education and content. If people want to learn how to engage more with their social media, there'll be great content there. And then also a great opportunity to interact with these travel writers and attend all the events associated with the conference. And we do have a discount code for anybody that wants to register. It is, and I'm looking at my cheat note, Tri-Cities Biz. So Tri-Cities BIZ, and that gets you $100 off the registration.
Oh, that's awesome. That was a question I was curious about. In the actual conference itself, are they only talking about Tri-Cities, or is it more of like, you know, travel writer industry meetings and information that they share amongst themselves? Is it the latter?
Yes, it's the latter. So, and TBX will be, they're in the process of finalizing their speakers, and the schedule will be updated on their website soon as well. But a lot of these content creators, bloggers, I mean, how cool of a job do they have? They get to travel the world and write about their experiences. And some of them have been doing it for a while and are experienced. Others are just starting out, and it's providing that education on how to monetize doing this for a living, or other, you know, how to increase followers in social media, or whatever the topics might be. But it could be relevant for other businesses as well, wanting to learn those and applying it to their own businesses.
That's really cool. Well, I mean, you know, who else? I mean, one name comes to mind, but like monetizing travel and, you know, having a global presence, in my mind, I think of Pitbull. And then, you know, learning how to do that, like as a travel blogger, that's got to be a huge, huge opportunity, which would be really cool. And now, just because we're here together brainstorming, we're going to throw another one out. But just like you said, people that are trying to monetize traveling and stuff, I think a trend that I've read a little bit about is people that are, you know, doing the conversion vans, and then they have the van life and they're traveling around. Like, is there like some kind of event or something that we could attract van life people, you know, that would be in the Tri-Cities? I mean, with, you know, all the outdoor stuff that people are supposed to be into if you're into the van life and the river and, you know, all that stuff. I mean, that would be kind of cool if that's a thing.
I think it would be, Karl. We saw, you know, last year RV sales. I mean, you could not find one, right? So that kind of fits into it. It fits into it too. So I think there's probably a good opportunity there. It drives economic impact. You know, for us, of course, we're working to put our friends in our hotels. But
of course, that's a good point.
Yeah, but it feeds the machine. It feeds the machine.
Yeah.
So they may come back at another point. We get them in the hotels. Greater exposure. The cool thing though is, if you come in, even if they're enjoying it in their van, they're still going to spend money in our community. The impact is huge because the tax generation, not only are we supporting the small businesses, but the taxes those visitors pay helps to fund so much. They share these experiences on their social channels. This is one of the things that Karisa really works to activate, because when we share our personal experiences, we're endorsing them, and that's somebody else putting their stamp of approval on the Tri-Cities. So it really does help us drive future economic impact. So it works. It totally works.
Yeah. And I was just thinking to myself, like if I lived in a van and I went to, you know, like a van life convention in the Tri-Cities, first thing I want to do is go stay in a hotel room, because I'd be tired of living out of the van. But that's just me, you know.
Well, I'll tell you. So just this morning, we had a really nice bump for the Tri-Cities. So Good Morning America, like the Good Morning America show, has been traveling around the US. They just did a spot on Washington State opening up. Our state tourism office had worked directly with them, and they were working with us. And while the focus was really on the San Juan Islands and some amenities in Western Washington, the opening shot, they wanted to make sure they got Eastern Washington in there, was a beautiful shot that one of our team, Chase Wharton, did with the drone over the Columbia at sunrise. And it said sunrise over the Columbia and sunsets in the South Lawn. So out of the gate on this program, the Tri-Cities had some pretty cool exposure nationally.
Oh my gosh. Well, that sound we just heard was probably people getting that update about the Tri-Cities from Good Morning America.
All of a sudden my phone is blowing up.
Yeah, I'm sure that's why.
You know, you were talking about Pitbull, and I lost the thought here, but thrift shop, Karisa, help me.
Oh,
Thrift shop.
What about it?
Artist. Why did I just So I've got it. So here's where this team's head is. We actually wrote an original piece about the Tri-Cities, the lyrics were original, to Thrift Shop. Karisa had been working with Macklemore to get licensed to that song to really light up the Tri-City. And he doesn't generally license his songs, so we kind of hit a roadblock on that one. But expect us to bring a little rock, or at least hip hop, to light up the Tri-Cities in the future.
Maybe we can get Pitbull.
He's local, right? Isn't he? I think when he was growing up, he lived in Spokane, and you know, our family used to live in Sandpoint, and people would see him up there sometimes in the summertime and stuff. So I mean, we might run into him in the Tri-Cities. Who knows? Right. I mean, I'm not going to go too far out on a limb, but I'm thinking like probably when he knows that a certain recording artist known as Pitbull is going to be in town, that he's probably going to, you know, I mean, can only expect it. I did want to ask Lara one more question on your work in bringing conventions to town. Obviously, TBX is huge because it has so many other, you know, connections for everybody and in your industry in the Tri-Cities. But then, can you talk a little bit, Lara, about other groups that you work with on setting conventions up? And I know we've kind of collectively had this conversation before about, you know, what are some areas where we're all working together to attract companies or even build new companies that might connect with, you know, some of our industries that we're all working together for the Tri-Cities, like energy, you know, technology, things like that maybe we could, you know, start with some new conventions. But how do you approach that? And maybe just give us some highlights on some other conventions that are are coming to town and how that business is going.
So, as you know, the pandemic, things slowed down for quite a while, and we were working with our meeting planners, canceling events last year. And so, beginning February of last year, we were just canceling, and just recently, and then rebooking for future years when we could. So we had one conference, for example, that canceled for 2020 that rescheduled for 2025 because that was their next available year. They already had venues selected for 21 through 24. So, but as we're having conversations with meeting planners, things are starting to go in the right direction. They're ready to start planning for future events. We've seen more requests for RFPs for future years. For the longest time, they were taking a let's wait and see approach. They didn't know. There was so many factors in play, such as, you know, their budget constraints and safety concerns and people's willingness to travel and all these other factors. And there's so much value in face-to-face meetings. And I think that they've, you know, they might have learned that they can do a virtual conference, but people's need to connect. And, you know, one of the things that we hear about conferences all the time that's most important to the delegates is the networking aspects. And they try to do it on Zoom with like little happy hours and stuff, but there's nothing like face-to-face meetings. And so people are really anxious to get back to that. We have some great tentatives on the books for 2022. And so we're excited about that. There's a Master National Retriever Club show that's looking to come to Tri-Cities in September of next year. That'll bring in about 1,200 room nights into our community. So that is huge. And then as we're talking to our association planners, some of our SMRF planners, which is, for those that don't know, it's actually a market. It's social, military, education, religious, fraternal. Basically, if we can't categorize it as corporate, government, or association, it's under that SMRF umbrella. And those groups, they're ready to meet again as well. So I think SMRF's going to come back. Your class reunions and those types of events, they're going to come back a little bit before corporate and government do. Association, they're starting to come back. We hosted 2 nice sized conventions in May and June. It was nice to see that, okay, the cancellations have slowed and they're starting to move forward and actually host these events. We just hosted the Washington Secondary School Athletic Administrators Association last week. It's the Association of Athletic Directors in Washington State, School Athletic Directors. And this is last year was supposed to be their first conference in Tri-Cities, their first of 8 years. So we were able to get that piece of business from Spokane, but they just hosted their first successful convention in Tri-Cities, and they'll be coming back for, well, another 7. So we'll be looking forward to welcoming them back in the future as well.
That's awesome. Obviously, Spokane's our, neighboring region, and we always partner with them as much as possible, but it's nice that we can compete with them too and get that business. That's great.
We'll take their conventions.
Yeah, totally. We do have a question from the audience from Michael on the membership model. And essentially the question is for those businesses who do not qualify as a member, so that they're not necessarily in one of your categories, with the new membership method, how can they potentially support Visit Tri-Cities? Like, are there other, membership opportunities within this model if you're not directly in some of those industries that would kind of get the included membership, Michael?
Yeah, that's such a great question. So, at a corporate level, we do have opportunities. And again, at that level, we're really developing some programmatic things. I'll give you an example. So Hector for the Sports Council. So we have, athletic directors, parks and rec, and we bring all these youth sports in. We're looking for a sponsor for that program. Battelle, for instance, is the official champion of STEM tourism. So all the STEM tourism related work we do, we're able to do what we do thanks to the support of Battelle. And we have a number of partners. Bechtel, for instance, is one of our corporate partners in that regard. And I'd love to give you the full list, but we could, sure. And I don't mismention anybody, but it's very program specific. Karisa and her media relations, HMIS, has been a great partner, WRPS for a lot of years. But there's some ways we can design some specific programs around that. But the other way I would say that anybody can get invested in what we do. And if you really recognize the quality of life impacts, why this is so important, invite your friends and family in for a visit. And we know some folks are going to do a little couch surfing. I love my family. I'm going to grab a hotel room. They didn't live local. It's the best way for us to have great relations. We've got some cool properties. But the other thing I would say is get out, enjoy the Tri-Cities, and then share it on your socials, because that goes so far and wide, and people can really come to appreciate what we have here.
Oh, that's a great point. Well, we've just really done our updates, and now it looks like we're almost out of time. We're down to 4 minutes. Do you guys have anything that we haven't talked about? It's really great to have you guys on. I mean, like I say, great partners. Our team work together, and I think we talked about a couple of examples on things that we've been talking about. Now that we're opening back up, right, we get those opportunities to do and really get this crossover in between the work that both our organizations do to really grow our economy, both with the Visit Tri-Cities member base and all of the folks that are part of that tourism model, and then with what we do in attracting new companies, helping companies grow, and really just Michael, and I'll give you the lead in. I'll be your introductory guy here, but the line that you have about how does tourism tie into quality of life, and here we go, Michael Novakovich.
So a friend of mine, she's the CEO in Irving, Texas. Her name's Margas. She has this phrase in it, and we were talking about this earlier, actually. It all begins with a visit. Hector mentioned people come in for a sports tournament. So when you build a place that people want to visit, you build a place that people want to live. And when you build a place that people want to live, you build a place that people want to work. And when you build a place that people want to work, you just built a place that business has to be. And if we just built a place that business has to be, we just came full circle back to building a place that people want to visit. So when we attract people in for a visit and they have this wonderful experience, of course, they stay in our hotels, they go out and enjoy our restaurants, our eateries, drink our wine, purchase from our retail, pump gas, buy groceries. It infuses all of these dollars that help small businesses not only survive, but thrive. So we're building an amenities-based community that all of us as residents get to enjoy. Supports about 6,000 jobs locally, generates about 55 million in state and local taxes. So it lowers our individual tax burdens, but that's what helps to pay for police, fire, schools, teachers, the maintenance, beautification of our roads, so much more. But the big picture is it supports quality of life that literally impacts every single Tri-Citian. So encourage you, invite your friends and family in and share your experiences on social media.
That's perfect. Just to wrap up the pug discussion, we did have a couple answers from the chat. We had, which I think is a pretty creative guess, which is pucks. So it's pugs plus a pack, pucks. I like that one. And then Tracy actually found the real one, which is, oh man, where is it? She put it in there.
Rumble,
which is very appropriate for a pug. I mean, they are somewhat breathing challenged, so Rumble's really great. Yeah, we got like a minute. So do you guys each want to just maybe make some closing remarks? And thanks again for coming on. I think with the 4th of July weekend and opening back up, it's perfect to have you guys on and talk about all the great work that you're doing and all the opportunities for all of us to work together in Tri-Cities. So this time, let's start off with Lara. Thanks for joining us from your remote location on Clover Island.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I just want to say one more thing about TBX. I encourage people listening, if they want to start engaging with this group, follow them on their socials so you can track the event, get in there and start engaging with the attendees. If they're following the TBX too, tell them your favorite place to go have a beer or a burger in Tri-Cities and give them those pro tips from community members. Also, as we get closer, we're going to be printing window clings for the businesses display in their business windows. If there's any businesses out there that want to help welcome and help make a splash, we really want them to feel the love and the welcome from the community when they arrive. So that's just one of the things that we're going to be doing to make sure that they're welcomed everywhere they go around town.
Oh, yeah, that's great. Thank you, Lara. Hector, closing remarks.
Yes, I'd say with sports, let's just go out and support, right? The events that are taking, and especially with water follies this year, it's much needed. So if you can get out, if maybe you're not going to be around or can't make it to the water follies, think about giving a ticket to a friend or family and purchasing tickets online. They are online right now. So again, that's at waterfollies.com. So I would ask that everyone just to get out and have some fun there.
Perfect. Thanks, Hector.
Thank you.
Karisa, any closing remarks you'd like to leave us with?
Well, I just want to say that I loved how Pitbull became the unexpected star of this. So shout out to Pitbull. But really, I want people to come to our website and check out all the events that are happening in the Tri-Cities. And if you have a business or an event, add your event to the calendar of events. We'd love to promote it. We don't know what we don't know. So tell us what you got going on out there. So I just encourage people to really check out that calendar of events and enjoy everything we have to offer here. And thank you for having me.
No, thank you for being on, Karisa. Michael, take us home.
All right. Well, for me, what saw us through COVID was community investment, collaborations, and great partnerships. That's what's driving our business, which impacts literally all the Tri-Citians going forward. And Karl, it's so good to have great community partners like you right here in our building that allow us to come on and spiel with you and share all the things that we do. But we love that you're feeding us these great ideas, from bass boat races to dragon boat races. Just keep the great ideas coming. We'll take them.
That's awesome. Well, all of the Visit Tri-Cities team, thank you for being on today. Thanks for the great work that you guys are doing for our community. And everybody have a great 4th of July weekend. Thank you.
4th.
Okay, we'll see you guys in the building.